Welcome to Heart Stories, a podcast proudly brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association. I'm your host, Doreen Brown, and this season we celebrate the journeys, passions, and values of remarkable individuals, many of whom share a connection to the Caulfield community. This series is a platform for heartfelt conversations that shine a light on creativity, leadership, and a sense of community that define extraordinary lives. At Heart Stories, we believe every achievement begins with a story. Together, we'll uncover the challenges, milestones, and lessons that have shaped our guests. Through their insights, we'll explore how shared values and a commitment to making a difference inspire both individuals and communities to thrive. So thank you for joining us. Settle in, open your mind, and get ready to discover stories that inspire, empower, and unite. This is Heart Stories. Let's begin. So today on Heart Stories, we're thrilled to be joined by Campbell Lord, a dynamic professional whose career seamlessly blends creativity, strategy, and leadership. Campbell is currently a senior consultant in people consulting in strategic communications at EY, where he helps organisations foster meaningful connections and amplify their impact. Before joining EY, Campbell worked as a media advisor and digital lead for the Federal Treasurer, supporting one of the nation's most high-profile leaders. His time in public affairs sharpened his skills in navigating complex issues and connecting with diverse audiences. His entrepreneurial spirit also shines through in his experience as the founder of Lord Media Group, a business specialising in film and media production to bring bold visions to life. Campbell's educational foundation is just as impressive. He holds a Bachelor of Communications in Media from RMIT University, where he's honed his passion for storytelling and strategic communication. His formative years were spent at Caulfield Grammar School, where he excelled as a student leader, served as a school prefect and house vice captain, and actively participated in sports, debating, and mentoring roles. Campbell's story is one of resilience, growth, and a deep commitment to creating impactful connections through communication and leadership. Can't wait to uncover the heart behind this story and explore the lessons, values, and pivotal moments that have shaped his incredible journey so far. So welcome again, Campbell.
Thanks, Doreen. That is quite the glowing intro. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Now, can you begin by telling us a little bit more about yourself in ways that I haven't been able to cover as yet, and what being part of the Caulfield Grammar community means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've covered off just about everything in terms of my later years, but
Yep.
my formative years really were spent all around sport, and Caulfield Grammar was providing that outlet for me from the absolute outset. Cricket was a huge part of my summer and my identity,
Yep.
and getting involved in cricket, footy, hockey, running, even the debating team as well. It was just all those extracurricular activities
Hmm.
that really set my world alight as a young 13-year-old kicking off at Caulfield Grammar. But of course, as I moved through my journey at school, that the creative urge that I began to develop and with film and started in year 11 when I made the
Okay.
first 18 football video and published that on YouTube, and really started to develop my own personal brand around filmmaking and media production. And I purely just did that out of my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
Things snowballed a little bit from there. In year 12, I made another football video, which gained a lot of attention from other schools and across the
Mhm.
state, as well as then throwing my hands in to do some of the rowing videos and athletics. And it was this beautiful intersection of my passion being sport in the first instance, but also a real hobby of mine, which I've turned into my career
Yeah.
of media production, and supporting the development of on-screen narratives. So Caulfield provided me with absolutely every opportunity I had to explore both my hobbies and passions, as well as get my foundational education, and really shaped up the career that I've had to date.
That's amazing. And yes, you've had lots of different things as part of, your schooling life and obviously now in your career as well. But can you take us back to your time at Caulfield and what it was like being part of the school community during those formative years?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly biased, and I do need to acknowledge that my sister went to Caulfield, my brother went to Caulfield,
Right.
and my old man went to Caulfield. So I've only ever known one way
Yeah.
particularly, but
Yep.
I absolutely loved it. And it was truly the most incredible 7 years of my life to date. I still hold friendships, and the majority of my friendships are all from Caulfield Grammar of those times through my senior years. And I look back on so many memories from my time at school so very fondly. And I'm well aware that that's not always the case for a lot of people, but I consider myself
Yeah.
very lucky to have had such a positive experience. And it was always so much more than the academic side of things. It really it was the friendships, it was the ability
Mm.
to do sport, it was the ability to throw my hand up and do debating, as I mentioned, which isn't something typically I'd been able to do.
Yeah.
And just being able to try absolutely everything that was available to me
Yeah.
was something that I absolutely cherished. And whenever somebody asked where I went to school and the feelings I have towards it, I'm always very proud to mention them a Caulfield Grammarian, and that's where I've come from.
That's amazing. And it seems to be a common thread.
Mm.
I wish I could go back in time and say that I was a student there as well,
Yeah.
because it sounds like everyone, yeah, it's a really tight-knit community. And that's really beautiful. Was there anything in particular, like your favorite memory or time from Caulfield that you can share with us today?
There were many
Many.
great memories,
Yep.
but there's one that really does stand out for me. And I know I've spoken extensively about sport. There was
Mm.
more to my time at Caulfield than just sport. However,
Yep.
one particular memory was the final time that I wore the school colours in year 12, and it was the APS Athletics Day. So
Mm.
on the Friday night, we had our valedictory dinner, and we
Yep.
said goodbye to our teachers, and we formally closed the chapter on our year 12 at Caulfield Grammar before exams.
Yeah.
But there was still one final dance. And on the Saturday, the day after, the small athletics team that we were at the time and a few of my closest mates, we all put on the Caulfield jersey for the one last time and competed for the school.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was very special in itself. But I think what was even more special was the crowd and people that attended that day.
Hmm.
We were really building quite a strong school culture at that time from the student base.
Yep.
And the fruits of our labor, of the work we had done during that year to build that culture, were right on display in that very moment. We had over 250 of our school peers walk through the athletics track and chanting and cheering the school song. And it was the final time that we ever put on that Caulfield jersey. And for a lot of
Yeah.
our peers, it was the last time they put on their Caulfield uniform. And I just think it was so poetic, beautiful, goosebumps. Even now, it
Yeah,
still
I'm
gives me,
getting
yeah,
emotional as you're as you're
it,
talking about it. Just remembering my kids going through like that same last day and me
yeah,
going through the yeah, so it's I can really feel that.
absolutely beautiful. And yeah, as
Yeah.
I said, still almost gives me goosebumps looking back on it now. And there's a
Yeah.
iconic photo that's been widely shared, and I still look back on a lot, is our small athletics team up against the fence with about these 200 of our peers and friends all wrapped around,
Yeah.
cheering and clapping, and yeah, really special
Yeah.
moment
A moment you'll never forget.
for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, as well as athletics, as you were saying, in cricket and debating and hockey, how do you think those experiences and being part of those different groups shaped you into the person that you are today?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, it's all about being part of a team. So
Yeah,
all those sports, including debating, you're a part of a bigger thing than yourself. And I find that that is the most important lesson to learn as you move into the big wide open world is
yeah,
you are a small fish in a big pond, and you really need to learn diverse perspectives and
yeah.
figure out how can your particular skill set contribute to the greater good or your broader purpose that you're working towards. And
Hmm.
I wasn't the best runner. I certainly wasn't the best cricketer the world has seen. I wasn't the best debater, nor was I the best hockey player. But I had a particular skill sets in all those sports that contributed to the team's success.
Yeah,
And that's what I just worked hard on getting better at, what was my niche. And I think that sums up my professional career a little bit as well. What do I do really well, and how can I use that to contribute to whether it be a team, a company, or even bigger, how can I make the world better?
yeah, absolutely. Now, you did hold leadership roles as well at school, and how do you think those opportunities prepared you for some of the challenges, as you've said, in your adult life?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think with the leadership roles and having the great privilege to have those roles, what it
yeah.
really did teach me was taking on diverse perspectives, and
Hmm.
you are entrusted with the role to represent a broad range of perspectives, and you are leading and representing a group,
Yeah.
whether it be our Year 12 cohort or our house itself.
Yeah.
You have to be able to take on board how completely different groups are thinking, feeling about a particular topic, or whether it be a house swimming event and there's a particular group of people that really don't want to go anywhere near the water, and how can you take on their perspectives and get
That's
them
me.
involved? Yeah. I completely sympathize with that. And so
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that it really helped me with was it's not always about the way that you're feeling, it's how those around you are feeling, and they might be coming at it from a slightly different point of view to you. And
Yeah.
whether, as I said, whether that be at school or in the professional world or even on the sporting field, that's the way the world works. We're all
Yeah.
different. We all do things in slightly different ways. And those leadership roles, at times, it was a bit of a baptism of fire that they coming to that realization,
Yeah.
but they really did teach me to hold those values.
Yeah, what great lessons and takeaways from that. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Now, Caulfield often emphasizes fostering values like integrity, teamwork, and resilience. Are there any specific lessons or values from your time there that you still carry in your professional or personal life? I know we've kind of covered it a little bit, but if you can
Mm.
dive into a little bit more detail with that.
Integrity, absolutely. I
Hmm.
think staying true to your word and even honesty with that as well. When you're a teenager, you love to bend the truth. You love to bend what I believe I did versus what really happened.
Yeah.
And Caulfield sort of fixes that up fairly quickly,
Hmm.
and not by ways of punishment in the forms of you do something wrong and you're punished for it, but
Yeah.
the teachers that I had really respected and took the time for honest discussions. And
Yeah.
if you weren't up for having honest discussions or discussing feedback or being true to what really has happened, then there might be less time for you. But I remember having some really definitive moments in my year 11 and year 12 where I maybe had done things that I wish I hadn't,
Yeah.
but I had some of the most constructive conversations with leadership at the time, and teachers at Caulfield who really were honest with me, and I was honest with them.
Yeah.
And they mentioned to me that if you remain true to yourself and honest to your word and faithfully recount what's happened, you're going to go a long way in life. And there are lessons there that as a teenager can be hard to get through at times, but as I get a little bit older, I look more and more back at those conversations and say, just integrity, honesty, and being faithful to who you are, and not trying to bend it in any way that it needs to be
Yeah.
is really, really important.
Reflecting again on your time at Caulfield, how do you think the school has been able to help lay the foundations for your career path and, yeah, the work that you do today?
Yeah, for sure. School was fantastic. So in year
Yeah.
11, I was really charging with my creative, my media career, experimenting with film and photography. And I had such a passion for it that I would like to have done studio art as a 3-4 subject in year 11, which
Yeah.
hadn't been done before. And it
Hmm.
was a little bit of a, oh, he's young. We don't really offer folio subjects early. Should we let him do it? But out of the school's heart and wanting to help me grow as best as I could, they made they made that change for me,
Wow. Okay.
which was amazing because it one gave me the opportunity while I was in year 11 with slightly less of a subject load as in year
Hmm.
12, I was able to really pour time and effort into that folio subject. And
Yeah.
that's that took me a long way into the experimentation, the exploration of the media work that I then went on to do in the years prior to that.
Yeah.
And that's a decision that I look back on really fondly because if that wouldn't have been the case, maybe I would have felt a little bit despondent and slightly less like I was in the room for growth,
Yeah.
and I might have fallen away with it completely.
Yeah. That's a
The
really good point.
second part to core is less my time there, but the network that you establish. And I'm the biggest advocate and the proponent for the network. Here we are talking today.
Yep.
As the CGA, it's the network in action again. But
Yep.
my career, so much of it has been built off the back of the CGA network. And who knows who, and those football videos I referenced earlier.
Yep.
My first role outside of school was actually I was actually put in contact by someone who was leading a creative department, who had seen my videos, who was also a Caulfield grammarian.
Ah,
Emails were exchanged, and all of a sudden I had my first opportunity. So,
yeah.
albeit a very fortunate scenario, I just think the Caulfield Grammarian Network and how it can support you professionally is, yeah, remarkable.
Huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
Huge. And everyone that I've had the opportunity to speak to through these
Mm,
conversations are just lovely as well.
yeah,
Like you can see Caulfield and that, experience really enveloped in everything that they're doing today as well, which
yeah,
is really lovely and unusual because not every school has that community and you don't always walk away with those
correct.
experiences. So
Mm.
yeah, amazing. Now, did any of the teachers or experiences at Caulfield inspire you to pursue communication and media as a field? Which again, we've covered a little bit, but was
Yeah.
there anyone in particular that,
It
yeah,
was. There absolutely was. There was one
yeah,
particular teacher, Gus Humphreys, who is still there,
yep,
and he was my global politics teacher in year 12.
cool.
And I did spent 3 years in the political world
Hmm.
as a media advisor. And it wasn't immediate to me at the time that what I was learning was going to be relevant, but
Yep,
Gus had such an incredible way at captivating an entire classroom of 18-year-old kids at the time
yep,
who which no other teacher quite managed to, I feel. I had incredible teachers. All my teachers were incredible, but Gus just had the ability to communicate and tell stories and inspire us to think more and think differently. And in the world of politics,
hmm,
go down to that next layer of exploration, read beyond the headline. And
yeah,
there are still today global political situations that are unfolding that we learnt about in year 12. And I think I had the best teacher to run me through those really complex situations. And all of our peers from our year level that were in that class, whenever
hmm,
we're in contact, we always still speak very fondly of the classes we had with him. And his inspiration then took me into the world of the political world. And at times
yeah.
when we were really busy, I would always sort of think back to a few of the lessons and outlines that he shared.
Yeah. And
Really
that's a
good.
true gift, isn't it? You always, yes, there's teachers that just have this particular quality that really aligns with you and then takes you, as you said, yeah, into future prospects as well, which is super cool.
For sure.
Now, you've had an interesting career path. Can you walk us through some of those key moments that brought you here? So where you are today, what were some of those, yeah, key aspects or key points?
Yeah, I've been very lucky in my career. I've worked hard, but I've been blessed to work with some great people who have been able to send me in different places in life.
Yep.
Look, Lord Media Group really was born out of that initial passion that I had with film and photography and creating visual narratives.
Hmm.
I found a little bit of a gap to create some revenue from it, and what's better than working on your passion and being paid for it? So
Exactly.
I set that up when I was quite young and still did for a couple of years thereafter and really, really enjoyed that.
Hmm.
And then working in that first role in the political space on the 2019 federal election,
Yep.
that was fantastic working with a Caulfield grammarian who was my boss at the time. I then went over to New York for 3 months because my sister lives over there and
Wow.
did a little bit of work over there, but a lot of
Yep.
self-discovery and
Okay.
reaching out to people, trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do
Hmm.
and having conversations in with the heart of, I would say, the professional world at
Yep.
times in New York was really, really powerful for me. And then when I came back from New York, someone from Josh Frydenberg's team had reached out to me, who I'd done some little bit of
Yep.
work with previously, mentioned that there might be an opportunity in the media team there. And so I thought it'd be great for 3 to 6 months. I think when you're a 19, 20-year-old at the time,
Yep.
you're not looking at 12-month horizons, you're sort of
No.
3 to 6 months at most.
Yeah. Yep.
So I looked at it as a small opportunity, and then COVID hit, and 3 years later,
Wow.
most incredible moments of designing and rolling out JobKeeper in such a short space of time, all the
Hmm.
economic support that we provided, and it's politics. It's up for debate, of
Yep.
course, of whether you like it or you not, if it's successful or if it wasn't. However,
Yep.
for me to have been involved in that in such a small and close-knit team and had that level of impact was a highlight of my career to date,
Yeah.
but it's also cutthroat and I lost my job. You know, you lose an election and you lose your job. That's the cutthroat reality of the political world. So
Yeah.
if we're speaking about moments, that was a quite a large defining moment for me at such a young age, going from riding the highs of the political world and working
Yeah.
in the second highest office in the land and being involved in these big national programs to
Yeah.
being told, hey, thanks, but we don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
So that's when I slightly shifted focus to the private sector and now work in communication strategy at EY and have been very fortunate to land there and have
Yeah.
my own learnings.
Hmm.
But those three phases are probably the big key moments of my professional career, without going into too much detail.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Now, you've touched on this as well. So you're in a strategic
Mm.
consulting role. What
Mhm.
do you cherish about your work at EY, and how is it different from previous roles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. The big thing that I love, and I encourage those to, just particularly in your earlier career,
Yep.
is consulting's fantastic because you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
I very early on learnt a lot and learnt that I didn't know quite a bit. When you
Yeah.
go from where I was in the political world, you get very good at doing a certain set of tasks that's
Yeah.
quite particular to politics.
Yeah.
You move across to consulting, and it's such a broad breadth of skill sets that are required. I had to learn pretty quickly on how to do quite a few things. So
Yeah.
it's not only the work that you do can be so very different. It's just the ability to work in different clients and industries. I think is most beneficial for me being so young. I've had time at defense, in
Hmm.
financial services, in the consumer sector, working for some nice reputable clients, and you get to see the inner workings of those companies.
Yeah.
And it really helps shape up your own perspective on the working world of, do I want to head in the consumer industry? Do I want to go more to financial services, or do I want to throw it all out and go to a government department?
Yeah.
It's it's a great space to discover while
Mm.
learning and be paid for it,
A diversified experience, I think, is the,
for sure.
yeah, key takeaway from that. Now,
Yeah.
after all of your experiences, what does success mean to you today?
Happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah.
I think I'm still so very young in my career, but I'm starting to feel that it's less about the name on paper and the work that you do. It's more about how happy and fulfilled do you feel outside of work.
Yeah.
Um, I probably know too many people in my own workplace that really are putting all their eggs in the one work basket.
Yeah.
And really for me, I love to just be able to do a job that I enjoy,
Hmm.
but also allows me to fill up my cup with all the other things that I really value just as much, being whether it be sport, running,
Hmm.
cycling, swimming, or if it's personal hobbies that I can pick up and do on the weekend, as well as spending time with family.
Yeah.
I think that really is success. If you are able to live a balanced life like that's
Yeah.
success. Um, but rather than being defined by how far you've moved up the corporate ladder
Exactly. Or the dollar signs, right?
or the dollar
It's
signs. Yeah.
the income. And many people don't figure this out, the lesson that you've just shared, until they're in their 40s or 50s. So
Yeah.
it's great that you've been able to be exposed to different things that
Yeah,
have allowed you to come to that, conclusion that, yeah, this is actually what happiness is,
sure.
defined, which is great.
Mm,
Now, how do you stay connected with the Caulfield Grammar community now? You mentioned you still have friends from school that you catch up with and speak
yeah.
with, and why does that connection with them matter to you?
Well, I almost have no choice. So all of my all of my best mates are from
Oh,
Caulfield, and I absolutely love hanging out with them dearly. So they're from Caulfield or not, would be hanging out anyway. So we're always have a
yeah,
connection to the CGA community and the Caulfield community. I also play a bit of footy at the Caulfield Grammarians Footy Club, which is
cool.
a really good, once again, not the best footballer by any means, but love
Yep,
having a run around.
yep.
And that's a really cool opportunity that just transcends year levels. When you're at school, it's quite segmented and
Yes.
7, 8, 9. But once you go to these the old boys and girls footy clubs, it's just everyone's Caulfield Grammarians, and it doesn't matter if you finished last year or if you finished 15 years ago, you're all part of the same community.
Yep.
So that's a really good way that I found to stay connected, as well as, a little bit of involvement with the CGA. that do
Yes.
some great events that I try and get along to every now and then, and put my hand out to help. So I love Caulfield. It gave me so much, and I try to, where I can, that is valuable, give back that little bit.
Love it. And I hope to meet you at one of those events one day.
That'd be
But
great.
now, for current students and recent graduates who are listening to this series, what advice would you give about making the most of their school years and preparing for their own unique career journeys?
Mm. It sounds very cliche, but just say yes to everything. I will never, and I probably won't ever join a debating team again. I said yes to it, and it was probably one of the best things I did at my time at school.
Yeah,
For an example, there is opportunities to do absolutely everything with zero consequence.
yeah,
Is risk is not a factor when you're at school, even in
hmm
your younger years. I think you've got to try to live you try and live the almost the riskiest things you can do within reason, knowing that the school is there to support you and guide you through them in any which way.
yeah,
So say yes to everything
hmm
and try and be less and don't associate the risk that's potentially with it. You will always have the opportunity to do the 4 and the 5 subjects that you need to do to hopefully push you through to your career that you desire, if that's
yeah,
the opportunity that you want to do.
yeah,
But if it's you've got an interest in debating, if you have an interest in the school play, you can have a go at it, and the school is going to support you to juggle both of those things at the same time.
right.
So try and disassociate the risk from potentially taking something on and just
Yeah.
say yes to everything without burning yourself out.
Now, any final thoughts or messages for our listeners today about the value of staying connected and being involved with a community like CGA?
The one thing that I would mention, and I've touched on it briefly over the course of our chat, is the power of the CGA network.
Yeah,
And staying connected, it can be in whichever way you feel that makes sense to you. You can be attending CGA events. You can be even just touching base once every 5 years at your reunion or every 10 years. But the CGA network and the power of it and the people that exist within it,
yeah,
it's the most powerful network that you will ever be a part of. And you are a part of it through no choice of your own. And there's no work to be done to have a membership.
yep.
So staying connected in whichever way makes sense to you is the biggest thing that I've really valued, and probably the one thing that I'd like to encourage others to do so if they can.
Amazing. Well, so much gold and lots of takeaways from today's episode. Thank you for your time, Campbell. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Doreen. It
it and
was
for
good.
being part of Heart Stories.
Loved it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
Wonderful.
it.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Heart Stories. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their story, wisdom, and passion with us today. Their insights remind us of what makes creativity, leadership, and community so impactful in shaping meaningful lives. Brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association, this podcast celebrates the shared values that unite us and inspire us to grow, connect, and lead with purpose. We hope today's conversation has sparked reflection on your own story and the legacy you're building. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. And be sure to join us next time for another powerful conversation with a guest who has a story worth telling. But until then, take care, stay curious, and continue making an impact. This is Heart Stories. See you next time.